Hey, everybody. It's Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock Central Time, and I'm Dr. John Shirk, and that means this is Brown Bag Lunch, where I bring you all I can in just a few minutes to give you tips and paradigms and ideas and tactics and all manner of tools to advance your career as an air conditioning technician, whether you are yourself a technician or you are someone who loves and cares for a technician and is in support of them. Today I want to talk about what may sound like an odd topic initially, and that is envy. Now, envy is, when I bring it up, normally people think of it as a kind of side or kind of almost niche issue. Like occasionally I see my neighbor's new car and I feel a twinge, and that's what envy is, right? Now, it's actually much more than that. For those of you listening from inside the United States, so much of our culture, so much of our economy is driven by envy. It's driven by the idea that someone over there has something I don't have, and I want what they have. And this creates a desire for movement, desire for purchasing, and so on. Okay. Um, but if we break down envy, it's actually a much more pervasive dynamic within our culture, and I want to talk about it from the perspective of a technician as well. So here's where envy starts really playing itself out. Let's say, for example, um, I aspire one day to be the best violinist in the world. Let's say that's my goal. Okay. And I'm my friend over here, he aspires to start an air conditioning company and make $100 million. Okay. If I genuinely, what I really want is that violin skill and status, and what he really wants is the money and the company, then there's not going to be any envy if he and I are moving toward our goals next to each other. In fact, we'll have a friendship and we'll identify with each other, and your challenges and my challenges and what you had to overcome and what I had to overcome, because we both have what we want in front of us. What we want is different, but we both have what we want in front of us, and we're making movement toward accomplishing and getting what we want. Okay. Now, let's say I don't know what I want. Instead of saying I want to be the best violin player in the world, I don't know for sure what I want. I'm kind of stuck in a loop where I'm just paying bills and taking care of people that I have an obligation to take care of, children, family, that kind of thing. And I see a person over here, they're really getting what they want. Okay. This creates the seed bed for envy to form. And so I'll begin to interpret my situation in a number of ways. Either I think I can't get what I'd want because of lack of opportunity. Maybe it's I'm just not willing to put in the effort to get what I want. Maybe I procrastinate. I know what I want, but it's hard for me to get to the point of taking action. For any number of reasons, I'm not moving toward what I want, but my friend over here is, right? Envy, the psychological function of envy is to justify my non movement toward my goals. Now, let me say this again. The psychological function of envy is to justify my non movement toward my goals. In other words, his motives are bad motives. He's actually not a good person. Somebody gave that to him. He didn't really earn it. Fill in the blank. Okay. But there's a kind of cognitive dissonance that goes on inside of a person when they have a very clear or even a vague desire for something they don't have, and they're not taking, whether it's they can't or they won't, but they're not making movement toward that desire. And then they see someone else who is, the perception that we call envy and the kind of resentment, and envy is a painful experience that forms, that becomes a barrier ultimately to us taking action toward what we want. Now, this is a very tech all around you all the time. Somebody's getting a promotion, somebody else got a new truck, somebody else, whatever, you name it. All right. Somebody else just got a raise. You're living in a world, and we naturally as human beings compare ourselves to each other. And a little bit of this is not bad. It's not a bad thing to say, man, my neighbor's yard is nicer than mine. I need to take better care of my yard. That's okay, right? The problem is when I start looking at my neighbor and saying he's a bad person, or I'm going to go into his yard at night and pour gasoline on it. I'm going to sabotage his yard. I'm not going to make my yard whatever it is I want to be. I'm not even going to do the work to figure out what the yard is I want. I'm just going to sabotage him. I'm going to lower him in whatever way. I'm going to reduce him because there's some misguided sense of justice in that. Okay. But fundamentally, what envy does is reverse motivate us to go get what we want. That's just what envy does. Envy is a way of balancing an inner um, disequilibrium. It there's a dissonance when there's something we want and we're not getting it, and we have to interpret that feeling. And so we may put together any manner of reasons why that's not happening, but envy is the way, the tactic, psychologically, unconsciously, that we create in order to justify or in some way balance the equation of my feeling of not getting what I want. So what's obviously the problem with that? I'm living in a state of not moving toward my goals, right? And so the more you allow yourself to get into this space of envy, and there's again, there's a lot of versions of it. We don't have enough time in one of these to get into all of it. Sometimes people they extract the achievement from the status, and they just view status itself as achievement, but they don't do the work and the grind to create the achievement where the status comes with it. So they just go after status, and then it becomes a different thing that way. Or there's a lot of different forms it can take. But fundamentally, if you find yourself looking to your right and looking to your left and finding yourself thinking about reasons why those people don't deserve what they got, you're creating a problem for yourself. Now, did they get something they don't deserve? Very possible. Very possible. Life is not fair. There's also going to be people around you who put in effort and made accomplishment and they didn't get what they deserved. Okay. But what I'm kind of coaching you toward today is don't stick your leg in this bear trap where you let your brain space, the flow of your thoughts during the day, get eaten up thinking about that other person and what is it about them? How could I even sabotage them potentially out of that envy? Because you're draining away your own mental capital, your own mental capacity to go make your own dreams come true. Okay. If on the other hand, if what you want to do is protect yourself from this dynamic, all you really have to do is get as clear as possible on what it is you want and align your daily activities toward getting there. This becomes part of the question. Number one question I get from technicians: should I stay or go? Is this the place where I'm going to, like, my dreams are going to come true, or do I need to look for somewhere else? Am I stuck here, or is it really opportunity here? I hear promises. Are they credible? I want to raise. They'll say someday. Do I stay? Do I go? In the process of this, you're short-circuiting yourself if you get lost on a path of envy, and you get lost on a path of looking at what other people are getting, and then just kind of resenting them. You're putting a flat tire on your own progress toward your own career. Okay, so what's my coaching in this? Click pause on those frustrations. Click pause on those. If different people have different levels of challenge or on this issue, but click pause on that and ask yourself, am I really aware of what I want? And if what I want is simply more, that's not clear enough. How much money do you want to make? Well, I want to make as much as I can, but put a number on that. Do you honestly think you're going to make $1 million, you and your truck, working for somebody? It's not going to happen. All right. And we all know that, but what is the number? I mean, the income is going up for technicians right now. What's the number? And then you can assess And if what is the number? Why is that the number? Does that represent fully funded 401k? All my bills are paid. My wife can work part-time and that's all. That whatever you have to work through why that number, but you have to get more specific and then look at what are the steps I'm taking? Are they getting me what I want? And if so, you've got a kind of inner emotional immune system from the danger that envy creates in short circuiting your progress toward your own dreams. Okay. So take a pause. It's a brown bag lunch. The purpose of these things is to take a few minutes. You're sitting in your truck. Maybe you grabbed a sandwich and a Coke. You got a minute. You got 10 minutes thinking through something this week that can improve your life. So take a minute and ask yourself, do I know what I want? And am I taking the steps? And if not, what do I need to change? Now, that's the gist of the lesson this week. If you want to spend 15 minutes on the phone with me, by all means, please, I'll probably try to talk you into being on my podcast, but by all means, please reach out for a 15-minute phone call. Love to get to know you and talk through these issues. If you're saying, I don't know for sure what I want, John, can I talk through it with you? And you tell me what you think and help me clarify this. I'd love to. Okay. Like I said, I'll probably try to talk you into being on my podcast, but the general idea here is to get yourself aligned with yourself. Okay. So that's it. That's the lesson this week. So I want to encourage you to go check out HVAC Joy Lab. We're approaching 20 episodes. We're starting to get this thing a little closer to figured out. We're still audio only, but it's going to keep growing and developing over time. And it's that podcast technician is for you. It's all about conversations about how to improve the lives of technicians, from home to kind of inner world to career stuff, money, health, all of the above. Okay. So go check out HVAC Joy Lab. We have new episodes coming out every Sunday on Apple, Spotify, and Stitcher. And if you'd like to be on the podcast, reach out as well, and we'll send you the little questionnaire, and you can join me for a conversation on the podcast as well. All right. I'm Dr. John Shirk. This has been Brown Bag Lunch. And I really hope that these things that I give you improve your life, because that's my whole goal.